Click record pretty early in this so we don't miss our preamble. So we talked on Saturday. Libby wasn't here. Victor, you weren't here. Some others, Jan wasn't here. We talked about Advent, this idea of Advent, or the preparation, we could call it. Well, preparation for what? We're going to talk this Saturday, by the way, on something called approach or approaching, or we could say communion, connection, wholehearted engagement or joining with, and the beautiful phrase in the liturgy of the Christian faith is joining or approaching the one. Isn't that lovely? Approaching the one. And we're going to talk on Saturday about who's the one? What's the one? Where's the one? And how do we get there? Because the one is where really in all spiritual tradition, it doesn't matter which your preference, your favorite flavor says is the way, the path, the truth, the light. I mean, think of all these words, right? They're beautiful throughout all time, in all traditions, towards happiness, towards freedom, maybe one could say towards wholeness, or awareness, or unity, right? Isn't that lovely? Just hearing it, don't you like go, yeah, right. And then your unique languaging, and to some extent, but not as much as I think we believe, a certain commonality, more than I think we believe. We believe just this way, just this path. We create an ism, whether it's Buddhism or Judaism or Christianity or whatever we graft on to that as special or unique or mine, just my belief. You can't have my belief. The truth is, all spiritual tradition is pointing very, very consistently for me. And this has been an area of study throughout my life, really, with fascination, the same truth. The same truth. The names are different, methodology varies, right? But the sense of unity, communion, think about those words, wholeness, right? This is something we know deeply, I think. And we're going to talk today in chapter 15 in our book, The Places That Scare You by Pema Chodron. We're on chapter 15. We're going to talk about the heart practices. I'd rather think of them like that, the heart practices. They're also considered, of course, mind training that are essential as we all open to, as we all experience, right? What other kinds of words? As we all know, feel deeply the truth of that oneness. So Advent being this period of time in the Christian tradition before the birth, in other traditions before the light, before, right, wholeness, before completeness, before connection, before unity. And so Advent, that preparation, and we'll be talking more about that on Saturday. I read a poem on Saturday, was actually not the poem. It ended up, of course, being completely the right poem. Just, I didn't see that till it was read, on the new beginnings, this preparation again for that which is, we're preparing for the coming, you could say. We're preparing for the birth. We're preparing for our completeness or our wholeness. And before that beginning, I'm going to see if I can't locate this. There was a poem I was hoping to read. I've since sent on to Leslie. Let's see if we can find it today more easily. This poem is actually by David Whyte. And I want us to think about this. Sweet Darkness is the name of the poem, Sweet Darkness. And it comes before the light, right? It comes before the present moment, right? It comes before there is darkness. There is only space before that which fills it. You could think of it that way, right? You get this idea, there is only space. And with that space, then we are infinitely given possibility. There's infinite possibility in that open space. What do you want to put in it? What do you want to be? What do you want to, right? And when I think about that emptiness, open space, I think about that as the heart of bodhicitta, just resting, waiting for love, waiting for goodness, waiting for hope. It's just ripe. It's just fertile womb saying, okay, fill me up. What do you want to into this moment? And so I'm going to read Sweet Darkness, and then we'll sit resting in the idea of the 5 ways we can cultivate the fertile soil of our being, of our minds, right, of our hearts, so that we're prepared for the light. We're prepared for what? Well, I might say present moment, just like this. I'm just here with it. I make a critical error in this, however, because I'm always thinking, oh, if I could prepare you, then it would go well. If I could set that, if you understood, then you too could be available. This is an insanity. I do it regularly. Oh, wait, if I could just explain, then you'll get it. What? This is insane. I really mean it's a type of neuroses. Like how many times, and I'm a therapist, I'm perfect for this job. I'll just keep explaining it to you and you'll just finally get it and go, oh, now I see everything's good. No. What am I preparing? I'm not preparing the externals. I'm not preparing the ground over there. I'm preparing the heart mind right here. This is the practice. We get a little mixed up, don't we? I prepare you, I'll prepare it, I'll prepare something outside of me. And no, we have to keep turning that towards ourselves. These are beautiful reminders, especially at this time of year when we recognize and remember all others as a part of the essential wholeness, right? And we say, wait a minute, you need socks too. Wait a minute, you need food too. Wait a minute, you need freedom, happiness, regard, and connection too. And then we gift, give, offer, and be, right? That. So here we are, Sweet Darkness, for those of you who you can be preparing to sit. This is from David Whyte. Sweet darkness, whole different idea. Listen. When your eyes are tired, the world is tired also, right? You see everything else is depleted. Everything else is separate, isn't it? The minute you do it, the minute your mind joins that concept, it is true. You're now disconnected. The world is tired also. When your vision has gone, no part of the world can find you. Do you get the idea? When you can't see the connectedness, when you don't remember the wholeness, when you don't see everything as a part of the diamond, the world can no longer find you. And this costs everything, doesn't it? Time to go into the dark, where the night has eyes to recognize its own eyes, its own clear seeing, there you can be sure you are not beyond love. Once you connect back with the truth, I am a part of this whole. There you are not beyond love. The dark will be your home tonight. The night will give you a horizon further than you can see, possibilities greater than just the moment before. You must learn one thing. The world was made to be free in. And what it means by free there is from what? Fear, from distress, from separation, from greed, hatred, and delusion. Give up all the other worlds except the one to which you belong. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness. Sometimes you just got to be in there with you, right? To learn anything or anyone that does not bring you alive. That means reminds you of your essential connection is too small for you, is too small. You are bigger than that separate, small, greedy, judging self that you mistook for you. You are too small. Only in the eyes of separation, only in delusion. I want to see if there's one more thing. I don't think so. I think that's good. Let's sit with that. Good to see you all. And so let's prepare to sit. And by the very willingness to be here, everyone could have been anywhere else, laying in bed, sipping coffee or tea, looking at your Facebook page. You chose through one of the strengths, this strength of wholehearted aspiration, you chose to be here. And I want you to touch that softened, open, available heart, because something worked against the brain stem in this moment. Something said something greater. Something greater is possible than all the old habits. And so here we are together. And so let the heart of bodhicitta be ignited. Your very wholehearted aspiration. To turn into the truth of the present moment and yourself and all beings in it. If you could imagine this like lighting the match, lighting the candle, turning on the light that radiates out to the whole of the world and beyond. That's the heart of bodhicitta. Just your willingness to be still and present, vulnerable, human, open-hearted. We have created this vast space of heart-mind. I'm going to just take some breaths or just rest in the open space. See what feels most available to you. be watchful of that separating mind, the one that goes, well, this would be better if I was warmer, it'd be better if my breath was longer, it'd be better if my back wasn't twitching. And see if you can't just begin to be in the space in this present moment with the breath that's available here, with the space you can make contact with now, with the seeds of goodness available this breath. And whether your eyes are open or closed, see if you can sense that pregnant, sweet darkness, the womb that holds you right now. It is not without characteristic. It is ripe. It is palpable. It is the open, fertile space in which the moment your presence, your being arrives, unifies, joins, is filled with light. Can you feel the aliveness, the vibration, the energy, the presence of this moment? It is not dead. It is only empty to receive you. Arms wide open. Can we greet the present moment? Can we greet all that is arising with those same, that same open, loving, compassionate embrace? Can we greet each other like old friends? This present moment and you. It requires everything. And as Joko would say, only this. We set the intention and aspiration to be fully open. We plant the seeds of goodness of bodhicitta. May we fill each moment with the presence, right, of love, kindness, compassion, equanimity, and gratitude. And then we commit ourselves, don't we? That's strong determination. We commit ourselves again and again. Just this, just now. We rejoin, don't we, again and again, because we truly cannot be separated from this wholeness, from this completeness, from this wholeheartedness, from this clarity. We show up again and again to remember. You, O nobly born, remember who you really are. Not separate, not disconnected, but a part of the whole. Essential. You can sense the vibration of aliveness. Even that stillness and silence has a quality of energy, of connection, of aliveness. Resonating, vibrating you. And us, and collective and unique, all here. And one of the things we begin to make contact with as we are just resting in this open space, this softened heart of bodhicitta, this alive, ignited sense of presence, we actually remember. And then in the strengths, this is called familiarization. Like, oh, the truth is this. I'm not separate. And rather than the open space being empty, we begin to sense again true refuge. It is the only thing big enough to hold our true presence. As we breathe, we get familiar and we remember. Feeling the belonging, connectedness. The open space and that vast infinite presence. And to truly greet that vast open space, which can be a little scary for some because we're used to our handles, right? We're used to our addictive devices, we're used to our habits, we're used to our own worry mind, our own fear. And then we confront it, and it's like, whoa, I don't know what to do with that. Actually, nothing. The very seeing, the very shining light of awareness itself begins to cultivate the path. We see it for its true nature. It comes and it goes. And rather than the story of self, rather than the self separating, self making habit of mind, we rest in the open space and begin to offer to ourselves through wisdom and infinite compassion. Don't make this, don't create the object, don't seek the object, don't try to grip the object, don't separate with self making, which is all of our mind habits? Can we just rest in the open space and then use what I think of as a gentle shepherding, an essential kindness, that whole heart of Maitri, or loving kindness and compassion? We suggest to ourselves, it's offering self instruction here. Reproach is what it's called, which is come back, open again, begin here, abide. Seeing clearly the cause of suffering, this unattended, unguarded, self making, craving, and not wanting mind. We use this gentle shepherding, this reproach. Be here, be now. In Christian tradition, there were shepherds, and shepherds followed what? They followed the light. And they saw the light in the stillness of that sweet darkness. It takes both. And then we can reflect when we get hijacked, when the mind gets caught in the storyline, when we go into thinking rather than resting, abiding in awareness. We can see what catches us. What's the old hook? The belief, thought that I'm not capable, that I'm not worthy, that there's a me that's somehow separate, either because it's so good or it's so bad. They're all stories. Some story of me. And it's one of the things I love about the idea of a child is born. A child is born new, fresh, clear eyes, wonder, awe, completely present every breath. Not only is there the idea of the Buddha within, that light in the darkness. There is that Jesus Dharma, that which is all good, all available. Alive. And that strong determination is again required because as we take the out breath, we have to reignite, we have to re-intention, we have to remember again the seeds of goodness. We have a habit for laziness. We'll talk about that next chapter, right? Those forms of laziness, just wanting comfort, just wanting it our way. Getting lazy about the habits of going to sleep, going under the covers. When just this one moment, with that intention and that goodness and that determination and that remembering, we fully arrive. And it's brilliant and bright and limitless. You, like a star in the dark night sky, among the multitudes, and your own. And for just a moment, we can turn towards with this radiant, bright light of being, of awareness, of presence, of kindness, compassion, we can turn it towards the dark. This is a moment of separation, a moment of judgment, certainly a moment of self and other making. Shine the light there and invite that open heart, a moment of fear. Maybe a moment of weariness. Maybe a moment of confusion, doubt, of resistance. I don't want this. And the craving, clinging, self-making mind. Separating us from our true nature, from this vibrant, open, embracing, boundless space. This is the awakened heart mind of bodhicitta, precious and sublime. Our true nature, our real home. May this light find the darkness. Dispelling all fear. This is the story. And then the light appeared in the sky. And in the light, there is joy and ease and remembering. May this practice help us remember. Making contact with our true nature. And so long as time and space endures, and as long as there are beings who exist, may I so too remain to dispel the darkness in the world. So when you get confused about who you really are, you can start with space and light and see if you can't make contact with one or the other or both. Maybe I could create some space in which I could recognize that presence, that aliveness, that awareness, and remember. In the forgetting, all suffering, no suffering is there. That's what happens. That's suffering. So I'll just check in first just to see how we are and see if you could get a sense of the aliveness, the energy, maybe. I don't know what the words might be. The qualities, maybe somebody would say, of presence. Can you see them? Can you feel it? And then, as my teacher said, can you remember it's nothing special? She wrote a whole book about that. Nothing special, just our nature. So we don't have to get arrogant, proud. That's another form of separating, isn't it? That go like, oh, well, now I got it. And if I feel like it, I'll share it with you. And it's also not yours alone, and uniquely, right? Manifest like this uniquely in you, and holding all of that, right, begins in that open space. Really. Otherwise, we keep making objects, me, and then you, and then presence, and then, right, these are object making, and then we can't and don't rest in it. Mind making it, and so we get in a lot of trouble. That's when we use that concept of reproach, which we're going to talk about now. Okay, I'm going to make, I don't think there's anything in chat. Nope, we're good. Why don't we go to the book then? See if I can't find that. That looks like it. This chapter 15 is called Strengths. strength or strengths. And I tried a little bit to see if I couldn't activate some of that felt sense of those strengths. She begins by a quote of Atisha, who was the one who brought the slogans that we've looked at to India. Or no, I guess he brought them to Tibet. Maybe say take that. Practice the 5 strengths, the condensed heart instructions. These are the instructions, not just the ideas for opening the heart and the practice. And I tried to name some of them during the practice itself. But they are strong determination, familiarization, remember, resting in the knowing, the remembering, cultivating and activating seeds of goodness, both in yourself and then seeing them in others. The practice of reproach, that's shepherding, that gentle, come back, be here. The instruction offer, the one who says, not now, think about lunch later. This is not going to be most skillful, will not be most helpful to you. Can you just get right in the invitation back to the present? That's reproach. And the intention and aspiration setting that's required. And we all know that. We've talked a lot about it. So strong determination in that second paragraph here. I'm going to see which page that's on for me. Just page 83, if you have a book. Strong determination is our commitment to use our lives to dissolve the indifference, aggression, and grasping that separate us from one another. I didn't cull those out too much in the practice. I said, what? Self-making. All the ways we construct a me and a you, an us and a them. I want, I need, you're taking, these essential habitual storylines that we activate over and over again in our fear. It is a commitment to respect whatever life brings. Big practice. Commitment to respect. Now, it didn't say like there. You get a little out. There's no, you have to like it, but you have to open to the truth of it, right? At the minimum, you have to say, this is here and it's arising. Here it is. Joseph Goldstein calls it phenomenon rolling on, just another thing arising. Can I just know this is just a moment? This is not about me. This is not about, can I just recognize? And then recognize what? The path, recognizing where suffering is in this moment, and also recognizing by virtue of it, the way out of it. I don't have to grip like this. I don't have to believe the other is the reason for my problem. I don't, and with gentleness, kindness, call ourselves back, wake ourselves up would be another way to put that. Determination to use discomfort, this is a real commitment, as an opportunity for awakening. Now, the truth is we don't only use discomfort, we use blessings, right? All the good too. We could say really the determination to use every moment, the pleasant or the unpleasant, even the neutral, the ones that were easy to forget all about, nothing happening, as the path to awakening. Every moment that can I see what's arising, what's here, and my relationship to it, rather than trying to get rid of it, get around it, make it disappear, go some other way. We've got infinite strategies, or deaden, numb, and disconnect, right? From what? The disagreeable, the unpleasant, the thing we don't like or want. This is essential, this willingness to greet the present moment, essential to the transformative process. Can you transform what you do not arrive to? And how would you do it? Joko used to say, you have to say hello to it first before you can say goodbye. You have to greet it. You have to open into it. You have to go into the cave. You have to go into the darkness frequently. You just can't, right? We all like the idea of standing back here and wasn't something on it, right? The fairy dust of something over there. And then we're willing to go in. Well, oh no, you're in. You're sitting in the soup. You're in the distress. You're drinking the poison. That's actually the path. Because otherwise, the true knowing by virtue of experience is not available. You're thinking something about it. That's nice, but it won't hold you up, will it? And it doesn't. All the great ideas about non-judgment through the infinite number of years I've been practicing has not helped me 1 ounce. Great idea. Great idea. I have to keep seeing how that judgment hurts me, pains me, kills me, who I really am. This is it. It's not about being nice, is it? There's no nice enough to get us to see that clearly. And that familiarization is understood as well as that strong determination to be an essential. Can I just get familiar? There it is again. There's my tight grip again. There's that broken, there's the numb again. There's the just want it to be some other way again. And can we learn how to stay there rather than just get out one more time? Turn away one more time. Go the other directions, distract, eat the caramel corn, judge the partner one more time. And we really know, don't we? As I'm saying it, aren't you going, like, what is that? Why? Right? I know. Yes, you do. You do know. And we forget. We do know, though. We know it's not going to get us anything. We know it's going to feed our pain, except the autopiloted mind goes, no, just get me out of here. Disconnect me from this. I'll just think the others are jerks. That's easier. Right? Then what? Recognizing the fear and pain in all of us, and then doing something different than shutting down. All activities should be done with one intention. This is one of my favorite slogans. That intention is to realize the oneness. Let's just say it like that. To realize the oneness of it all. That my hatred hurts you and your hatred hurts me. That my disconnect costs us all, and so does yours. And so rather than perpetuate it, we commit ourselves, don't we, wholeheartedly? No, like I'm just not going to do that. And often I notice it isn't like I got brilliant and went, oh, I know what I can do. No, I don't. I just cannot do that. I don't know anything. I just know the grip in the belly, the chest, the let's not do this again, please. And that means I don't do that again. That's what it means. That I have to stop. I have to use reproach, it says. And she gave some examples of her own stuckness, a moment where she, I think, went a lot into self-blame and then ended up blaming, moving into blame of others. And she caught it. And when she caught it, she cried. Right? Isn't this true? When we catch it, we go like, can't I just stop this? She did all the right things. She's writing here. She tried to recognize that thoughts are thoughts. That's a beautiful thought till you've bought the storyline, and then it's not too helpful. And this line I thought was important. I'm so familiar with finding the soft spot. A reservoir of empathy arose seemingly out of nowhere, completely available. Somehow, she made the choice to stay. My willingness to stay with the discomfort was what allowed something to shift. Then the reservoir of compassion which is only possible in the knowing, in the direct experiencing of suffering, not in the idea about its end. I wish it were true. It is not. Only from the knowing, this is suffering. She also goes on to remind us, and it doesn't mean it's easy and it doesn't mean it feels good. There is no quick fix. It isn't magical. It isn't like poof, all the problem is gone. In fact, it likely hurts, doesn't it? But there is something more authentic, I would say, in that, honestly, something more available in that this hurts. How we learn to reside with distress and is the path, I would say, to our shared humanity, our humanness. And others just like me feel this too, right? Instead of me making up some story about how I'm the one who's got to rah, 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 rah. Can I know this too? This difficulty, this fear, this confusion, and recognize it for the storyline, the separator, the self-maker. And recollecting the seeds of goodness, the reservoir of openness, tenderness that is available to us every moment. The seed of bodhicitta, somebody would say, what? Buddha nature, Jesus nature, the infinite disguises of Jesus, I think was one of the lines in the Bible, right? Jesus in his infinite distressing disguises. Making contact. This is something I want to remind us of. Making contact with the soft spot that we already have, that already exists. It is not making something different, new, other. It's not true. You already own it. You've buried it and put some dirt on it. It's there. And we often don't want to turn towards it. Why? Even if we believe this, why don't we want to go towards that soft spot? Who's got a thought about it? Nobody likes being uncomfortable. It's one of our forms of laziness. We'll talk about it in the next chapter. Speaking.
Being honest and being in your vulnerability and scary. Wow. Who wants to do that?
Nobody. Nobody wants to do it. And we all know something about it. This is right? There it is, the juxtaposition of being alive. Like, I know there's no way out. I know that turning towards is the path. I remind myself this is it. And what does my brainstem do? Not today. No, not in the mood, a little tired, didn't sleep well. Right? Got a little bellyache. Just don't want to do it today. And then we shut down. We close off. We go the other way. We distract. We make up the storyline. I shouldn't have to today. It's the storyline, isn't it? Not today. It's been a tough day. And it's a tough day. Why? Because you just wrote that on your storyline. You put that right on your Facebook page. Today's been a really tough day. So today I shouldn't have to. Everybody should be nice to me. Well, yeah. Who begins by being nice to you? You, right? By recognition, by understanding. I know this is a moment of difficulty, a challenge, of fear, and I will choose to remain. There it is, it's written. And I will choose to remain, to end the suffering, rather than just do the same old thing, the same old way, for one more millionth time. And then we feel for ourselves, don't we, in that stuckness. You go, for me and all those just like me who just don't feel like it today, right? That's the beginning of re-inviting bodhicitta. It isn't with judgment. See, reproach, that other strength, isn't hostility. It is not aggression. discretion, it's clear seeing, it's wisdom that says, don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. Don't one more time think that one more thing, that thought again will get you out of this suffering, because it never will. There is no judgment ever throughout any amount of time that's going to free you. How many times would I want to say that? Well, as many times as it takes to go, not this one. I'm just not going to do it. Well, what thought am I going to? I don't have a thought. I'm just not going to do that one. What can I do? I can simply rest back in open space in this breath, seeing clearly that the distress is activated by the same fear of pain, the same wanting something different, right? Every time. And then we smile. Like, yeah, there it is. We water it. That is the seed of bodhicitta, by noticing our negative and positive traits. It's not just catching ourselves when we're hooked, it's noticing when we're not hooked. That is the recognizing gratitude and rejoicing and enoughness and wow, the feeling of wholeness. We have to recognize those two and see their path just as well. She invites a question to try to catch ourselves in our habit-making nature. I don't know if we'd call that nature, or habit-making strategies. Have I ever done this before? Have I done this before? This judgment. Have I thought this thought is mine? Have I thought this thought before? If only you'd be different, I could be okay. Have I thought this thought? Well, do you know how many times I've thought that thought? More times than I could possibly count. So have I thought this thought before? Then you can know that as habit mind, because bodhicitta is fresh. It's alive. It's just now. It doesn't have habit nature in it. It doesn't have that, or again, I'm here like this, doing that, right? It doesn't have that in it. It's fresh, new, just arriving with wonder, awe, openness to it. So when you feel this kind of heavy weighted, you know you're caught. And then you can ask the question, what is this thought I have thought before? This is a story about Geshe Ben, who was screaming at himself, thief, thief, which I thought was hilarious. Couldn't we all scream, addict, addict, here's the addict in me. Turning that TV on, diving into that substance, whatever that happens to be. And it can be everything, including our own thoughts. And I think that's probably the biggest one. Our own believed thoughts are our biggest addiction, aren't they? Is there any bigger? No. It's from that you went to eat the caramel corn, that you had the martini, that you scheduled one more something or other, right? Or ran the other way. So watch, you might call that out. And it was a fun read, Geshe Ben. The point of reproach, I just want to remind everyone, is not criticism. It is not judgment. It is this gentle shepherding, like the good parent, like out of my care for you. I don't want you to be stuck in the suffering. I don't want you to be hooked. And so let's not do this. Let's, but it doesn't have harshness in it at all. And I think we have to be watchful of the tendency to bring criticism, judgment, and to that reproach. It's not useful. And then that aspiration setting that is required for all presence, for all practice, every breath moment. And I think we do get lazy I do know that many people, of course, in the Sangha set everyday intentions, and then they don't think about them again till, I don't know, days later, maybe that night when you're recollecting, if you have a practice for that. It's how to keep invoking. Intention is every breath moment, and we get lazy. Like, I thought about it, so that should count for something. It's how to keep reinviting, reinvoking, reigniting it, and how to make it alive right now. How do I make non-judgment alive right now? Calling it out in the morning, we know, is beautiful, right practice, but then we have to keep inviting it. And we get a little lazy. I think about that often. And also don't have the sustainability yet, and don't set reminders, don't set alarms, don't set carrying the stone, don't set the everything that should be pointing us back to the heart of bodhicitta throughout the day. And if we think we're just supposed to, what's that? What kind of harshness, disconnect is that? I just should be able to. You're not going to. I've been doing this a really long time. If I don't activate carrying the stone, writing it down, putting it on something, sticking it on my phone, I have a mind jogger. I put my intentions on there. It knocks on my head 10 times a day so that I can remember what my commitment is this way, this day, right? And so if you're not doing that, then you're not wholeheartedly committing yourself, because we all need that. So what are you going to do? How are you going to strengthen your commitment? It's a real question. What are you going to do? Based on what right? The idea alone is not enough. So what are you going to do? There's the 5 strengths. And so you can write it in chat. What's the plan? How are you going to reinvite, reintention, remember? Right? Here it is, opening into bodhicitta, resting in that open space, inviting the light. How are you planning to do it? Today. How are you planning to do it? I'm staring right at Tanya, so pick on you there, Tanya. How are you planning to do it?
I was gonna chime in, and I wear this
Have to now.
band on my wrist as a reminder, and yeah, I forget a lot.
We all do.
And then there's those little flickers of moments where I'm like, oh shit, and then I remember.
Yeah.
And so it's so interesting that we talked about this today, because it's been a really, excuse my expression, a fucked couple of days. And expectations I put in chat, of like other people of me. And then I feel like I fail because I'm not meeting those on top of everything else that I'm doing and I expect of myself, when I'm like, and then I sit there and go, what the fuck is that about? Because you know what? I am a human being, and I have to have self-love, and I have to take care of myself. And I can't take care of myself when I'm expelling from a well that's empty.
That's right. Of course. What do you think it is that hooks you? Other people's expectations, everybody's got them.
Oh, for sure.
Who cares? But what do you think it is? Something hooks you.
My need to be accepted, my need to be, getting that other approval.
That's right. Exactly right.
And I know this is what's so ironic, is I know better, but then I get that hook, like you said. I get hooked, and then I'm like, oh, I suck. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Oh my gosh, I'm a piece of shit, which I'm not.
Of course not. And some part of you knows that, and I know that too, right? Some part of all of us knows deeply. That's the knower who goes, wait a minute, this isn't kind, this isn't friendly, and it's not true. And we manage to pick our perfect participants.
Right.
You've got a perfect job, Tanya. You can't get your job right. You have
No.
a job you cannot do enough. Yeah.
Oh, and this is the whole other thing. It's like there's so much more that's fallen on my plate. Like I am losing my freaking mind now that I'm taking care of so many other things, and there's so much, and I have to step up for myself, which is a good thing.
That's
I
right.
have to step up and say, hey, you know what? This is your shit. This is all I can do. Freaking manage it. Like,
Right.
and it hurts me to I don't know, I guess defend myself, stand up for myself,
Well, you think you need
make
to.
a boundary for myself.
Yeah. You just can say, how about this? I can't.
Right.
What about
And
that? I can't.
I
No
can't do,
explanation. No, I can't.
I mean, I do so much stuff, and I really think I am really good at what I do.
Yes.
But right now, with everything, I'm just like, am I really? Do I really? I just really fucking suck right now. And I can say I suck right now because you know what? I just went through this whole crazy year and finding out stuff
Right.
um and making choices that I feel in my best interest are good for me.
Well, that's
And
your job.
that and I'm battling with doctors about that. Like, oh well, I'm like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. And that's a challenge because then I sit back and come home and go, well, maybe I'm not making that right decision, or maybe I am being a and I think I said to my friend, I go, an arrogant little shithead, you know, like a tantruming child is what I feel like. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And it's not that at all.
Well, it won't matter what anybody else thinks about it, will it? It will matter that you listen deeply and
Mhm.
that you keep learning how to stay with yourself in the face of what disapproval, rejection, uh, abandonment. Really, this is an essential coming home to ourselves. And sometimes we're the only one on our team. It's true. And yes, you are deserving and worthy of that. And I don't know either the right way for you. I don't know. I just know you could know as long as you get out of the caught, like I've got to do this your way versus my way. It's not true. And doctors are going to offer you what they have. That's their way. Traditions, lineage,
I have
religion, they
right.
offer you what they have. And what's our job? Well, this gem for me, this truth for me, this knowing for me might not look like in anybody. Really, it might be a little of this and some of that, and this thing that I know already. My guess is it'll be fairly unique uh, if we're truly awake to it.
And I mean, I do honor that. I mean, I totally respect science completely. I mean, I
They
went to
know exactly what they know,
they
and
know
they
what they
don't
know.
know whatever they don't know. And we all have a tough job, but that's an every moment job, isn't
Right.
it? Like,
It's
what's the
like
truth?
when the
Right.
balancing of everything, right?
Yeah, it's not easy. We won't say it's easy. And by the way, couldn't we just be acknowledging there?
Can I just be a kid again and like not think about it? Can I just go back to that and not be an adult with
Maybe for a moment.
all
Maybe
those, you know,
yeah.
like can I not have this? Can I not look at my body going, wow, I used to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and now, oh, this aches and that hurts, and oh,
Yeah.
now I got to look at this like report from my exam. Like,
Yeah.
wow, I never, as a kid, thought about that. I just look at my grandparents and my parents and be like, oh, let me just rub that for you. Let me just take care of that. Let me bring you some tea. Let me make you this. And now I'm now becoming that person that, and I don't have anybody at home except my dog, right? And I was so, when you mentioned Bandit the other day about, because he's my saving grace. He really is. And I know it sounds silly, so other people will be like, oh, the crazy dog lady. Uh, and that's
Well,
okay.
maybe this is the truth. Maybe it's finally time for you to bring that tea for yourself,
And that's what I've been doing.
right?
So
Maybe
I,
now, has to be. Isn't it true for all of us? All of those, I can do this for others, I can be this for, we eventually, all of us, every one of us will have to invite that kindness, that care, that attention, that regard for ourselves. And yes, sometimes because we're sick, sometimes because we're broke, sometimes, right? And it is true. And often I notice I don't do it until something breaks. Until, like, I can just keep going, seeking approval out there, getting accolade out there, accumulating, accomplishing, right, out there until, well, we can't, right? Often, I think that's the part of the path. Like, I just can't do it this way anymore because I'm sick and tired and can't go to sleep. And then I can't get up. Right. So, yes. So what's the path? What are you going to do this week is my direct question. What are you doing to remember and keep waking up? These 5 conditions of heart mind that we have to keep calling up and activating, because otherwise we will be caught in the forgetting. What are you going to do? I'm looking over at my hearts here. I frequently carry them. So it's not for me a unique enough, I will say, because I carry hearts regularly. So I'm thinking about 2 things for myself. I have something called Mind Jogger. It's a free app. I can set the reminder and the number of times a day I want the chime to ring, so that I can remember these 5 strengths, to call them to mind. So I'm going to do that. I have some key daily behaviors on Mind Jogger already. There are things like drink water. I have to put that in about every 20 minutes because otherwise I'm not doing that. I have to put in I love you. Am I saying it to you? Am I saying it to myself? I've got that in. I'm putting in doing certain stretches every day. Guess what? When I remember. When I remember, I can intention and then choose it. So I'm going to write that in, recollect the 5 strengths, and which one needs to be called up right now? Which one needs to be called up right now of those strengths? Other ideas? Anybody? Here we go. Yes, awake each breath is the aspiration. How are we going to do it? Siobhan says, I will write them down. Yes, it's often a very good way. Yes, look up Mind Jogger. It's a really lovely little app. It just will put a bell in there and it'll bring up the notification. So on my phone, it just said, I love you, as my way of remembering to offer that to myself and to others. We can carry something, we can enact a gesture, but see, you still have to remember it. How are you going to remember? Is my Libby's going to use a specific time of day. She's going to use her lunch break as an inviting, invoking, remembering, reminding. Leslie's got a little gorgeous little, looks like a Care Bear here. Yes, to remember. I'd say carry it. I'd carry it with you, because what we put down will be forgotten. What we put down will be forgotten.
Diana, I remember when we did that whole walk with Thich Nhat Hanh. And
Yeah,
so that came to me last night while I woke up from a dream and I was like, I need to remember that. Like just walking and taking that moment. And how they ring that bell. And you
yes,
know, what's so funny, by my house, at certain times throughout the day, there is a bell that is rung. And every time that bell is rung, I remember and I stop. I stop when I'm home
perfect.
and I just stop and go
Yep. So
and
you
take
could
those.
just put a bell on your phone, right?
And
There's all
yeah,
kinds
and
of alarms. Just the bell itself could be, right?
help.
Couldn't it? An amazing reminder. Libby's saying I can use regular activities in a day. Every time I pass through a doorway, every time I go from sitting to standing, every time I get in my car, every time I look at my device screen. Holy cow, what a reminder that would be. You'd be doing nothing but remembering. Right? Jan is saying that the Mind Jogger is $1.99 for the app, not free. So thank you, Jan, for correcting that. I thought it was free. Maybe when I got it, it was. I don't know. Mind Jogger is a lovely opportunity. You can set the days, the number of times in a day. You can set the little notification. What do you want it to say? Well, maybe it's a unique strength, strong determination. Where is that in me right now? Aspiration. Where is that in me right now? Remembering my true home, being familiar with it. Reproach. How do I call myself back without criticism, judgment, hatred? Right? How do I be the light?
I think there's a mindfulness app as well that you can download, and that I think is free.
Insight Timer.
Yes.
Yeah, Insight Timer is free. It also has reminders and lots of bell options, by the way.
Yes.
It doesn't have the notification, but you know, the bell's the bell. Waking up is waking up, right? Calling that to mind for yourself. It's 8:30. You need to find a way to remember. What is that way? The 5 strengths are available every moment, but they are not available when we are caught in the grip of habit nature. They are not available, not because they're not there. We're looking the wrong direction. We're out there somewhere, not here. All right, may we bring our hands together at our heart, invoking that those seeds of goodness, remembering. Big breath in, activating that vagus nerve, creating space and room and warmth for ourselves. For all those who, just like me, want to be happy. For all those just like me who want to be safe and well and have ease. For all those just like me who forget and remember. We commit ourselves wholeheartedly to waking up and remembering. Beginning with this one moment, this one breath, this one step. May we all have peace. May we all be well. May we all remember. The second thing I'd like you to do is be looking at what pulls you away. We're going to be looking in chapter 16 next week at the 3 forms of laziness. Am I just wanting it my way? Am I just wanting comfort? Am I just wanting to forget about it? Do I just not care anymore? Like, bleh, I'm dead into the whole thing. I forgot all about it. It's hopeless. I'm done, right? Watching for those habits of mind, seeing what gets in the way of the remembering, because we're going to look at them more closely. So you're going to need to pay attention to not only the remembering, but where do you go in the forgetting? Where did you go? Well, I got caught up in the busyness. I got caught up in the tasking. I got caught up in the storyline, just going, no, not doing it. Right? So I want you to pay attention. What helps you remember and awaken? What's the thing you're going to invoke for that? You're going to have to bring something to the table. And then what happens? That in spite of these reminders, this true heart, this remembering, I forget. And notice what's pulled you. We'll talk about that next week. Greg's gonna be here Thursday at 7. We will be in the garden once again this Saturday. It is Saturday the 18th, 17th, seems like. Things are getting busy. Hanukkah's coming on Monday. We've got celebrations, family, lots of things we think we need to be doing. Be watchful. Be watchful of the doing. The doing is really not where the good heart is best expressed. It is not. Be careful. Okay, blessings to everyone. You're so welcome, Jan. Good to see you too. Dennis, good to see you. Tanya, always good. Tanya, we're all here with you. We're all here with you. Take good care of you. Good start, everyone.
Yeah, it's been a journey. I to say that.
It always is. It always is.
Isn't it? It's like, woo, I joined this little love boat of life.
Yeah, we're all sitting in that same raft. We're right there with you.
Let me have some more soup.
Yeah. Be well, everyone.
Thank you, Diana.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
I'll do a call later.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye-bye.